We haven't done a van video for quite some time, but needs must. I don't think I'm going to get back in a timely fashion today. So I am. Where am I? I am near Forest Hill in London. So there you go. That's where I am today. Right, a few things to discuss really. Firstly, Charlie Cresswell. Actually, probably secondly, Charlie Cresswell. We're going to discuss Magic Diouf, some news on that as well, and of course we probably can't do very much without discussing Mohammed Kudus. Unfortunately, because I'm out in the van, I can't do the bells and whistles. I can't do the daily Kudus theme tune and all that type of stuff. So we'll just have to go au naturel, not naked. I'm going to continue in my smart shirt to deliver that news to you. First of all, it's the last day of our raffle today. Let me get this right. Signed Jared Bowen shirt, match-worn Kevin Nolan shirt, signed Paolo Di Canio captain's armband, and a signed Mark Noble armband. It means there's 4 prizes in a raffle. It's a really, really big raffle. Tickets are £5 each. The link is in the description below. And if you buy 2 tickets, you get the third free. Go and check it out. Link, as I say, link is in the description below. Let's start with Hadji Malick Diouf, or Magic Diouf as I like to call him. We better sign him now, really, haven't we? Well, we've learnt a lot more because the initial rumour. The initial rumour was, as I mentioned, I think it was ExWHUEmployee who broke the news on 19th of June. But the proper rumour that we had been bidding for him and had a €20 million bid rejected was by Fabrizio Romano yesterday. Certainly allowed me to have a little bit of time, have a look at the player. As I said, looks to be really athletic, times his tackle very well, excellent delivery, really, really good crosser of the ball. So we had €20 million rejected. As I understand it, Salvia Prague, who are obviously the selling club, they want €25 million and then we can have him. But Atalanta have also done a deal, I've made a bid for him, apparently. So you would imagine he'd probably go there. Here's the weird thing. Well, it's not weird, but one of the reasons that West Ham are supposedly cutting our cloth, and one of the reasons why we're looking at the Belgian league, the Swiss league, the Czech league, Danish league, let's call it, no offence, but none of the more glamorous leagues. We're not trying to buy from the Bundesliga or La Liga or anything like that, is because the players are supposedly cheaper. And I guess in terms of wages, they probably are. So we're trying to cut our cloth. I guess if we were going to sell Mohammed Kudus, for instance, his wages saved and the money we got for him would, I guess, could buy us 2 to 3 players. I think with a 20-year-old left-back, like Magic Diouf, I think once you start talking about €25 million, I do wonder if, is that cheap? I'm not so sure it is. I think, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the club do on that one, see if the club go back. I guess it all depends on how much Graham Potter is going to push for this. And I do think that everything that's going to happen is going to be signed off by Graham Potter. And I include the sale of Mohammed Kudus. Make no mistake about it. I don't think he is being sold from underneath him. I think there'll be a number. Well, we heard, didn't we? We heard towards the end of the last transfer window, there were only 2 players that were untouchable, and that was Jared Bowen and that was Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Aside from that, anyone else can be sold. They're not gonna let the manager run transfers with his mate Carl McCauley and then not do that. I'm pretty sure if Potter really, really wanted to keep Kudus, wants to build his team around Kudus, we'd do so. So it's really up to whether the manager's going to push for this guy, Magic Diouf. There we go. Let's just touch on Kudus, just briefly, if you don't mind, pardon the expression. It just looks more and more. Oh, excuse me. Need a steady hand, don't I? It just looks more and more likely that he is going to go to Tottenham. I'm sorry to say. There's one little thing, which is I do think West Ham are trying to invite other bids for him, and I think, well, there's 2 other clubs mentioned, and Fabrizio Romano mentioned this yesterday. He's been very prolific. We haven't heard much from Romano at all. He was very prolific in terms of his West Ham news under Tim Stein, and then he went quiet. We pretty much heard nothing in January from him. Now he seems to be, he did 2 or 3 West Ham exclusives in 24 hours. So one of them is about Kudus, and he said 2 other teams are interested. Also, that was backed up by Ben Jacobs as well, who's a Talk Sport correspondent. It's Man United and it's Chelsea. They're the other 2 clubs. I just can't see it with Man United. They're going hell for leather for Bryan Mbeumo. Chelsea's an interesting one, though, because they're getting in Jamie Gittins. You would think, and obviously they've got João Pedro. By the time I upload this, I've got 5G here, by the way, a miracle. By the time they get João Pedro, Jamie Gittins, why would they want Mohammed Kudus? But here's the thing. It looks like, is it Madueke? I think that's the guy. They might be selling him to Arsenal. If they do that, then they're back in the market for a winger. I don't know how much truth there is. It almost sounds like wishful thinking from West Ham that they want another bidder in there. I'm pretty sure they know they'll be pretty unpopular if they sell Mohammed Kudus to Tottenham. But I mean, interesting. It was interesting. When I was driving in today, I was listening to the the Jim White and Simon Jordan show on the radio, and they were saying West Ham fans are annoyed that we'd sell Kudus to Tottenham, and he was getting people to text in and message in and stuff like that. And somebody, a West Ham fan, has said he was useless. Kudus was useless last season. I'll drive him to Tottenham myself for 60 million. I don't think that's reflective of everybody. I think there's more annoyance than there is acceptance at it. I think a number of things have got to go right for West Ham not to build a backlash this. I think we've got to be good next season. Not necessarily Tottenham have to be crap, but Kudus has got to be crap at Tottenham. And however, it's not just me, everyone says it, he's better in a counter-attacking system. Thomas Frank maybe bucked the trend a little bit last season, but more or less what he does, right? Excuse me, I've got to swap hands here. Right, which brings us Charlie Cresswell. He played against us. He played against us for Leeds, and I thought I really liked him. I don't mean when he played against us for Leeds. I sort of got into the under-21 tournament quite late. Obviously, England won it. We've spoken about a few other players there. Obviously, we've spoken about Harvey Elliott. We've spoken about Tyler Morton. Creswell looked really, really good. Now, I think out of the two centre-backs that were playing most of the time, and you had Creswell, who obviously plays for Toulouse now, and you had Quansah, who's about to sign for Bayer Leverkusen. Quansah was on the ball, was the more eye-catching. And in many respects, you would look at that player and you would say, that's the type of guy that probably you'd probably think that Graham Potter would prefer that player. We're not going to get him £30 million to Leverkusen, but there was something to admire about Creswell. He had personality. I thought he had leadership. He had. You don't see much personality, I think, a lot of the time from players. In many respects, was very much the type of player that I think West Ham's defence needs, actually. He looks like a winner. He looks like he's got grit. He's got determination. He's attritional. But he just seemed to have character. He seemed to exude character on the pitch. As I say, in terms of ball playing, Quansah was the more eye-catching. No doubt about it. In terms of back-to-the-wall stuff, in terms of leadership, in terms of stuff like that, I liked what I saw from Creswell. I really, really did. He's a good size, big, physical centre-back as well. I heard 15 million. Don't know if that's the